Hello everybody, I'm Prof. Ibtihaj Radi from the World Islamic Sciences and Education University. The title, Al-Jawf Articulation Letters. Objectives. In this lesson, we will learn about the following detailed objectives. The student will learn about the articulation organs. The student will learn the meaning of the articulation point and the number of articulation letters. The student will know the number of original and subletters and distinguish between them practically. The student will practice pronouncing Jawf letters from their proper articulation points. The student should be aware of common errors in pronouncing Jawf letters and recognize some of differences between Arabic and some of other languages in this articulation. The student should recite verses 9 to 12 of Al-Jazariya Introduction, master, and memorize them. The student should understand the meanings of verses 9 to 12. Classroom terminology. Articulations of letters, the places where letters are produced, their origins, and the areas where they are produced in the mouth. Al-Jawf, the empty space of the mouth and throat. Original letters, the 29 letters that make up the Arabic language. Subletters, these are additional letters besides the original 29 which were pronounced by the Arabs and some of them revealed in the Quran. The pronunciation of each letter is between two original letters, either in terms of articulation or description. First, al-alif al-mumala. Pronounce alif as sound A in English, so it's read between alif and ya. Introduction to the lesson. The lesson explains the meaning of the articulation of letters, their importance in mastering recitation, the organs of speech, the articulation point of Jawf, and how to pronounce long vowels and vowel marks, while highlighting the most common errors in pronunciation with practical training on pronouncing letters. Subject 1. Arabic letters. The correct approach to learning Tajweed is for the learner to begin with the chapter in the articulation points of letters, because mastering them is obligatory for those who are capable. I mean that whichever error leads to changing letters and altering meanings, you will find that many of the rules of letter articulation are based on it, and no one will master them except those who have mastered the articulation points. Abu Amr al-Dani said, "The core of Tajweed, knowing the points of articulation of letters and their characteristics. Therefore, it is customary for authors of the science of Tajweed to present the points of articulation, such as al-Dani, al-Qaisi, al-Qurtubi, Ibn al-Jazari, and others." The original Arabic letters are 29 letters, which are alif, ba, ta, tha, jim, ha, kha, dal, dhal, ra, zay, sin, shin, صاد ضاد طاء ضاء عين غين فاء قاف كاف لام ميم نون هاء واو لا يا. The secondary letters are what are between two of the original letters, including A. The alif al-mumala. It is between alif and ya in the pronunciation sound A, and it only occurs in one word in the narration of Hafs by Asim. In the Almighty says in Surah Hud, Bismillahi majreha wa mursaha. The facilated Hamza, it is between the confirmed original Hamza and the Alif, Waw or Ya, depending on the vowel of the Hamza. It occurs in 4 words in the narration of Hafs. The second Hamza of the word A'jami in Surah Fussilat, and the second form in 3 words Allah, al-Dhakarain, al-Ana. It is permissible to read it without a confirmed Hamza, then with an extended Alif with a full extension, and it's permissible to read it with 2 Hamza, a confirmed one, then a facilated one, then Lam and Dhal. You can read it as Allah or Allah, الذكرين or الذكرين الآن or الآن. Number C, the hidden noon. It is between the noon and the letter that follows it, as in the word من قبل. So the noon here is between the noon and the qaf. Each letter has a place in the organs of speech from which it is produced. If this place is disturbed, the sound of the letter changes and it may change to another letter, and this may lead to change in the word. The second subject, speech organs, articulation points. These are the places where letters are originated, generated, and are produced. God Almighty created for man organs with which to pronounce letters, from which letters are formed. God has bestowed this blessing upon man. Have we not made for him 2 eyes, a tongue, and 2 lips? Articulation organs, the larynx, the throat, the vocal cords, the epiglottis, the uvula, the tongue, the teeth, the palate, the lips, and the nostrils. From these organs, letters are created. Vocal cords. These are 2 flexible oval lip-like ligaments that extend horizontally, meeting at the Adam's apple. The space between them is called the glottis. The vocal cords vibrate horizontally and sometimes close, all of which affects speech. Epiglottis الغلصمة or لسان المزمار. It is a flexible cartilaginous connective tissue covered with a mucous membrane that closes the entrance to the larynx and protects it during the process of swallowing food, so that food doesn't enter the trachea and cause suffocation. Uvula, a muscular projection composed of glandular epithelial tissue, conical in shape, that hangs from the soft palate. It is 15 to 35 millimeter long and is located near the back of the larynx and is suspended at the top of the back of the mouth. The upper palate, it is the roof of the mouth. The part of it that is connected to the teeth is called the gums. The half of it that is closest to the mouth is called the hard palate and has a slight curvature. The back part of it is called the soft palate. Teeth. There are 32 teeth for an adult, which are front incisors الثنايا, lateral incisors الرباعيات, canines الأنياب, first premolar الضواحك, second premolar الأضراس, wisdom teeth النواجذ. The tongue. It is the most important organ of speech. It has 2 edges, a distal, a mid, and a tip. The lips, upper and lower. Nostril, the inner cavity of the nose. Nostril, الخيشوم, the inner cavity of the nose. Look to this picture. Points of articulation. Mouth or lips, ba, fa, mim, waw. Tongue, the letters da, tha, jim, dal, ذال, را, زاي, سين, شين, صاد, ضاد, طاء, ظاء, قاف, كاف, لام, نون, ياء. The throat, I, همزة, ها, عين, حاء, غين, خاء. The empty space in the mouth and the throat, which is الجوف, the long vowels, a, u, e. The third, subject of الجوف, exit. The first exit, the cavity. It is the empty space of the throat and mouth. The 3 long vowels are produced from it. The alif, the silent waw, preceded by a dhamma, u, and silent ya, preceded by a kasra, e. The exit point of the cavity is a specific, unknown point of articulation, and it is the empty space of the mouth and the throat. When you're pronouncing alif, the mouth is open. When you're pronouncing a waw, the lips are closed. And when you're pronouncing ya, the middle of the tongue is raised. The 3 vowel signs, fatha, dhamma, and kasra, are the half vowel letters in terms of time. The point of articulation of the vowel signs is the same as the long vowel letters, with the only difference being the time. The mouth shape for the vowel signs is the same as for the long vowel letters. Look to this picture. Hard palate, soft palate, the middle of the tongue, the deepest part of the tongue, the gums, the tip of the tongue. Cautions for pronouncing long vowels and vowels. One of the mistakes when pronouncing the emphatic aleph is closing the lips, which produces a secondary letter between the pure aleph and the waw. Try this in the words الذين and قال. قول. It's wrong to say قول. قال. Closing the lips when pronouncing aleph is called التفخيم الشديد, and it is one of the Arabic dialects. Adani said, this language is not used in the Quran because it has no imam. That is, none of the reciters transmitted this method of reciting the Holy Quran, and the Quran is not read except according to the tradition. So it is not permissible to recite it in this way. It is also a mistake to close the lips when pronouncing a fatha letter, because this will distort the fatha and make it lean towards dhamma, resulting in a vowel between the fatha and dhamma. Try this in words, for example, Ar-Rahman, غوي. It is wrong to say that. You must say Ar-Rahman, غوي. Ibn al-Jazari said about how to pronounce the letter Aleph. As for the Aleph, the correct thing is that it's not described as being soft or heavy, but rather according to what precedes it. It follows it in being soft or heavy. What occurred in the speech of some of our imams in terms of its being soft, they only wanted to warn against what some non-Arabs do of exaggerating in pronouncing it to the point of making it like the letter waw. Raising the middle of the tongue when pronouncing the letter aleph inclines it towards the letter ya. Some readers do this with the intention of softening the aleph, and it's taking the letter beyond its limits. Try this in the Almighty sayings, طعام لا ريب. It's wrong to say that. You must say طعام لا ريب فيه. If the reader, for example, reduces the closing of his lips when pronouncing the letter waw beyond the proper limit, the pronunciation of the letter waw will be disturbed. Some readers do this when stopping at the end of the letter waw before the next letter. Try this in the word يعملون. Some readers say يعملون. It's wrong. يعملون. Try to bring your lips back before the end of the letter waw. You will notice that you read a soft waw. After the long letter waw, the correct thing to do is to keep the lips closed until the end of the letter waw when pronouncing the letter nun. If the reader reduces the height of the tongue on the letter ya, it turns into a long aleph. Some readers do this when stopping, moving the middle of the tongue before the end of the ya, producing soft ya after the long ya. Try this in the word nasta'in. It's wrong. Nasta'i, nasta'in. The correct thing is to keep the middle of the tongue raised until the end of the ya. Pronunciation of the ya and lower the middle of the tongue with the pronunciation of the run, not before that. The pronunciation of the kasra letters should be identical, whether the kasra is followed by a consonant or a vowel. In some dialects, it is customary to soften the kasra if it is followed by a consonant. So, that is become in imala, as in Surah Al-Fatiha, for example, in the name of the God, the most gracious, the most merciful. غيري. No. غير المغضوب عليهم, not عليهم, عليهم. The reader should be careful not to incline these kasra letters and others, as there is no difference in the kasra if what follows it is a consonant or a vowel. And also when it is pronounced with a dhamma as مما رزقناهم ينفقون, not you. مما رزقناهم ينفقون. The pronunciation of the dhamma that is followed by a sukoon is exactly the same as the one that is followed by a vowel. The reader should be careful when pronouncing a silent letter after a dhamma to bring the lips back and not keep them closed, because there is no need for a dhamma, and the lips are only closed when pronouncing waw, dhamma, and ishmam. And consider with me, dear reader, this text about not closing the lips during consonants. It is what Ad-Dani narrated in his book المحكم في نقاط المصحف, where he said Muhammad ibn Yazid al-Mubarrid said that when Abu al-Aswad al-Du'li established grammar, he said, find me a man and let him be a laqina. Laqina, it means it is an Arabic native speaker, or what we call it in Arabic, aqhah. So he searched for the man, but he was not found except in Abd al-Qais. So Abu al-Aswad said, if you see me pronouncing a letter with my lips closed, put a dot in front of the letter. If I close my lips with a nasal sound, put 2 dots. If you see me with my lips closed, put a dot below the letter. If I break my lips with a nasal sound, put 2 dots. If you see me open my lips, put a dot above the letter. If I open my lips with a nasal sound, ghunna, put 2 dots. Reading the vowels at their correct identical times without addition or subtraction, it is a mistake to speed up or slow down some vowels, which is called stretching. A vowel has a time that suits the reader's speed, and the time of the vowels is the same wherever they occur. Summary. One of the most important chapters in Tajweed is the chapter of articulation letters. Therefore, authors began their books with it. In the Arabic language, there are 29 original letters and a number of secondary letters. The long vowel letters and vowel marks are pronounced from the hollow part and have a way of pronouncing them.